This is iThird with another video review, this time of a motion-activated light, 21 LED light actually. This is the fourth one that I purchased over probably the last 3 years. I guess as technology moves along, things get better and better quality over the time, and the first ones that I got were very primitive compared to this. You had to put instead of having a switch here to select a different mode, which I'll talk about in a second, you had to put a pin in and tap it once, twice, 3 times, whatever, for whatever you needed. And this here, it's clearly marked how many times you have to press the switch, and the thing lights up and all that, and lets you know whether or not you're in the correct mode. So to begin, we have your typical LED panel here, which obviously absorbs light during the day. It's meant to be stored against, say, your garage or your house. I put mine against my garage because that's where my barbecue is, so it lights up the whole area. Like I say, I have 4 of them now. I'm going to be installing this one probably tomorrow, and the solar panels absorb light during the day, and then this here is the sensor which determines how much light is coming into the unit to know whether or not to turn on the LEDs when it senses motion. Because right now there is too much light as it is in the room. But if I was to turn off the lights, we would see that the unit would work just fine. And we're going to go ahead and do that in a second. But I'm going to come up a little bit closer here, so this way you can see this. The switch operates. The first mode is the light is on brightly with motion detection. The unit is on low illumination with motion detection. The unit is always on with low illumination, I guess to save the battery, and the 4th click is off. So let's go ahead and actually put this to the test. I think I may have to turn off my lights here, and we'll see. Okay, so here we go. So this is the first. Actual functionality. This is the first. I'm not sure why I can't find the word here. The first function. This is for it to be sensor lighting, and then once a certain amount of time goes where it doesn't sense any motion, and I'm just going to remain motionless here, so this way you'll see it and it'll start to dim down. You have my daughter taking a bath in the background. Here we have the sensor mode where it is always on, but you can't really see the blue light here. And this is the other one where it's always on, but it's dimly lit. So this one saves the power. And if you see here, there's a little red indicator light, but there's also indicator lights on all of them. So for example, I turn it off now. If we go back, first one, if you can see it, it's actually a little green light on there. Okay, and this is the mode for sensor, and then the light dims after it senses light. Senses motion, and then the motion stops. If we click it again, it's sensor mode, but it does not dim. In other words, once the movement is undetected for a minute, the light just goes out. And then here it's always on, but it's always on in a dim light. So this way you have a little bit of light. And then there it is off. I'm going to turn on my kitchen lights here again. And again, this unit is it's all compact. It's you can change the modes once you install it. Like I say, you put it like this against the wall, so this way the sun is coming from the top. you know, it's no thing to go underneath and just change the mode that you want the light to function in. But the early iterations of these products were such that you had to actually remove it from the wall, put a tiny pin or something into, or maybe a paper clip into a tiny hole, you know, and you wouldn't lose the direct. You would have to say the directions because there was nothing to indicate which mode it was in. So, you know, you would always lose the directions, and you have to press it once for, let's say, sensor plus dim light, 2 for sensor plus bright light, 3 for, you know, always on or always off, something like that. And it was always very difficult to figure out which mode was in. And if you had the directions, it would be okay, but still you had to remove it and put the pin in. This is a no-brainer. You just have the switch, and you just look under here, and it just tells you, well, you know, what actually the modes are. So I'm looking forward to using this, and you know, this is actually much brighter than 2 of the units that I have, which have one of them I think has 18 LEDs, and another one has actually 21 LEDs. But you can look directly into that light and not be blinded. This one, I got to tell you, it was blinding me when I was doing this video when the light was on. So yeah, this is a good quality light. I'm gonna have to do a follow-up review in a few months to let you know how it holds up in the rain and the snow and, you know, in the inclement weather. But I expect them to be as good or even better than the ones that I already have, because it seems to be a good sealed unit here. But only time will tell on that. And then if I have to do an updated review, I'll go ahead and do that. Anyway, this is iDoc Photog signing off for another video review.